Hello, welcome to the studio of Carini Arts. Whatever day you're watching, it is Tuesday here. I can't keep track. When you work for yourself and you're an independent artist, the days and months and years all blend together. I think the pandemic really contributed to that too. But you can check out CariniArts.com for my shop, my blog, my podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Acrylic Alchemy. You can find me on Facebook at Carini Arts. I also have a new Facebook group called A Safe Place for Artists of All Types, and you're all welcome to join me there. Basically, what I do here is I do little artist tips and tutorials, just talking about candid subjects for art. Everybody's welcome to join the conversation. And today, I want to dive into the idea of fear of failure, but also fear of success. And I think a lot more people are familiar with the thought of or the discussion of fear of failure. So maybe we'll start there and then we'll dive into fear of success. I think that fear of failure is something that everybody experiences. I think that at one point or another, we all do at least. And for anybody to deny that, I think it would be a bit of a lie, perhaps to themselves, if they were to feel that way. But there are definitely things you can do and condition yourself throughout life to be less susceptible to that fear. Now, I know that one of the common things that I hear from artists and people that are going after their dreams is that they're not ready, but that they'll do it when they're ready. And one of the hard lessons I learned in life was that you're never really ready. Sometimes you just have to make the jump, you have to take the leap. And in doing so, you will get your feet wet sooner, so to speak, and you will learn to swim sooner the sooner that you get into the water. But if you keep holding off, if you keep waiting, you never get in. And eventually it gets easier and easier to just avoid doing it at all. So we put things off, we procrastinate. And the more we procrastinate, the less likely we are to ever do it. So if you really want to do something, sometimes you just got to dive right in head first. Uh, I've always said that you got to burn the bridges, burn the boats. And I know that I was looking at a post earlier on Facebook and it talked about requesting time off for work. And I remember the uneasy feeling that I would have requesting time off when I had something that I wanted to do to live my life. Like, hey, I want to spend some time with my family that I haven't seen in forever. Or, hey, I want to do a day trip and go do this. And work would deny time off requests. And the way that I looked at it was my time off request is really me letting you know that I'm not going to be here. It's not really a request, it's a notice that, hey, I'm not going to be here. But I think that we lose sight of that and we fall into these ruts in these places with these illusions of security. We pursue jobs that are not really meant for us and callings are overlooked or dismissed. We brush them aside, we bury them down deep. And I think that what happens is later on in life, we feel this resentment or this sense that we really missed out on something. And so I want to encourage you, wherever you are, to go after your dream, whatever that may be. Even if you're not an artist, I think that the message here is prevalent and something for everybody, really. I think that we all have something that we haven't done, myself included. There are still things that I avoid doing because I have this fear of maybe I'm not going to be good enough. But again, the more that I do it, the better I'm going to be. So I still, being a professional artist, have times that I think, oh, you know what? I don't know if I want to try this because I don't know if I'm going to be good enough at this, or I don't want to switch techniques or try something new because I don't know how good I'm going to be at that. And I'm known for this and I've had success for this. But maybe people will think that this is a failure, that I'm going backwards. And recently I have shifted to not one, but two brand new bodies of work, completely shifting the spectrum. Still on the spectrum, but shifting the spectrum. And I absolutely love what I'm doing right now. I think that it's some of the best stuff that I've done. And if I had held on to that fear of failure and not attempted it, then I would never know. And perhaps I did put it off for a bit too long. Perhaps these are things that I should have done even sooner. So, again, when I talk to you, I'm also talking to myself because these are things that I need to work on. So I want to ask you, what is it that you want to do that you are afraid of not being good enough at? And I think that when it comes to fear of failure, it's not just a sense that we're going to be failing ourselves, but we feel like we're going to show other people that we're not good enough and we're going to be in that spotlight and it's going to illuminate the fact that we just weren't enough and that we were insubstantial. And that's really not true at all. I think that it's bold, it's brave to take a chance, and I'm inspired to see people that take chances and that fail, but get back up and keep going. So I think that that's the real key to success for me as an artist, was that it had been filled with failure, my journey. But the reason that I am successful in the ways that I'm successful, and again, successful is a matter of perception too, and it's completely subjective. But the reason that I'm here doing the things that I want to do is because I did hear a lot of no's. I did fall down a lot. I was told that I wasn't good enough at this. I wasn't good enough at that. And I kept going. I kept doing my thing, knowing that, hey, you know what? I know in my heart that I have what it takes, and so I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get better for however long that it takes until I get to this point to where I wanna be and to reach my goal. And if for some reason I do fall short, I can at least know that I went after it. But so many people never ever go after it, and in my opinion, that's the greatest failure of all, because if you go after something and you stumble and you fail and you fall short, well, at least you went after it. But if you don't ever make the attempt, there's a 100% guarantee that you're going to fail. At least there is the possibility. There's that glimmer of hope. There's that faith that there's a possibility that it could work out for you. And so that's why I think that it's important to carry on and to move forward, even with that fear of failure. So again, even with that fear, it's not about removing the fear. Yeah, you can condition some of it out, but it's about moving forward even with that fear. So now I want to shift to something else that I think is not discussed a lot, and that is fear of success. And that is another thing that I have experienced in my life, feeling like if I am successful at this and this takes off, I don't want to at some point stumble and fall back to where I am currently, or where I was at a previous time. And part of that has to do with coming from a certain place in life, certain socioeconomic status, having certain things in life, being accustomed to struggle and hardship and difficulty. And it was overwhelming, the idea that I could work my way out of that, have a level of success, start to get comfortable with something new, with the new lifestyle, or having new things, and then to have to go back to that place that I was before. And for that reason, I think that a lot of people, myself included, will self sabotage. They will intentionally do things to make sure that they maintain themselves at a certain station rather than moving up and raising the bar, because raising the bar is a challenge and it is hard and there is a lot of pressure to it and there is a lot of weight on your shoulders. It's absolutely worth it though. And it's another one of those things that in that self-sabotage, I am keenly aware of the fact that I'm doing it and that I'm falling short, but that I am my own greatest obstacle and that I am the thing getting in my own way, because I am capable of doing more and reaching higher levels, but I keep getting in my own way because I don't want to take the responsibility of what comes with having to continue working that hard. And it's something that I'm still working on in my life. And I would say that right now I'm on an upward trajectory and I'm thankful for that. But these past couple of years have been tough, especially with the pandemic and everything going on. And I think that that has impacted a lot of people to a greater degree. And so I'm curious if anybody out there has knowingly or perhaps unknowingly dealt with this in the past, the idea of fear of success. And I know that it's one of those things that a lot of people say, "Well, why would I be scared of being successful?" But I think that deep down, if you really think about it, there are a lot of people that do have that very, very rational fear. There's a lot of added responsibility that comes with success, being put in the spotlight, having a lot more eyes on you. You're looked at as a mentor figure or a role model, things of that nature, but also the managing of finances. I know as my business was growing for a while that I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to do all these other things to manage the business. And then I'm going to have to start doing this and this and all these things that I've never done because I'm not used to those because I've never been there. So I would think to myself, you know what, maybe we should just stay with what I know and stay in this place. And in having that mentality, I prevented myself from perhaps being where I could be today by holding myself down. So it wasn't that other people were holding me down or pushing me down. It was that I was holding myself down and holding myself back with a combination of fear of failure and a fear of success. So I am curious if we do get people that join later on or that watch this, what your thoughts are on both fear of failure and fear of success. I would love to have somebody to bounce thoughts off of and have a dialogue back and forth to make the conversation go a little bit more fluidly, perhaps. But those are my thoughts for today. And I know that I am on a journey right now to combat both of those things, the fear of failure and the fear of success. And I know that it's not always going to be an upward trajectory. There are going to be times that life goes back down and up and up and down and up and down and up and down. But I think that in preparing yourself and conditioning yourself better, you can at least get it so that rather than things dropping down to here, that maybe they level out right around here. And so that's what I'm trying to work on right now is things aren't always going to be consistent, but we can build a little more consistency and we can build things up to a point where they are at least leveling out a little bit. So maybe it's going like this as opposed to going like this. And this is what I've had a lot of trouble with in the past couple of years, that it seems to be feast or famine. And the truth is that sometimes that is the nature of things as an artist. But I did accept that when I moved into this role of being a full-time artist and not doing anything else. And I'm thankful that I did because, again, talking about fear of failure and fear of success, at least now I know that I have moved in the direction of my calling. So now, whatever I do, whatever I leave here is everything that I have in me. And in that regard, I consider that a success. So again, even if you do fall short, even if you don't achieve everything that you want to achieve in life, sometimes things change. Sometimes the things that you want may be altered a little bit, and that's okay too. But at least if you go after it, credit to you for that. So I do want to encourage you, go after your dream, whatever that may be. Have a good day, stay safe, be well. Check out CariniArts.com. Join me on Instagram, join me on Facebook, and I will talk to you soon.